Hey everyone, I'm Kyan, a Twitch streamer and general game enthusiast and mental health advocate, and I'm here today with the new map coming out for Among Us. I figured I'd do a video. I know a lot of people I've played with in the past, both people in personal life as well as during streaming, have had issues learning new maps or learning the game when they first pick it up, and mostly around not only just kind of mapping it out, but also just learning the different kinds of tasks and how to complete them. So I decided to put together this crewmate guide to talk through and show you guys all the different tasks that are on the new map, which is the Airship that just came out yesterday. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. For all new players of the game, and for even just for people who haven't played in a while, I always recommend going into free play in Among Us in order to learn tasks if you want to be prepared. I know some people like the element of surprise and just kind of going in and figuring it out as they go. But if you want to be someone who wants to know how to do the tasks and know how to do things so that you can focus more on the detective skills and figuring out who the imposter is, or as an imposter, being able to focus more and have better lives when people ask you about tasks and whatnot, I always recommend going into free play and playing. It allows you to walk through. You can assign any tasks to yourself that you want, as well as complete them as many times or test around as an imposter to figure out the vending system, the layout of the map, as well as making sure that you figure out where the sabotages are and how they function, and also how crewmates are going to be able to fix those sabotages that you throw at them. So to start, we're going to go for the Armory. So as you can see, I've assigned all of the tasks that are available in the Armory. One of them is listed as electrical because it's diverting power to the Armory. So when you go into free play, even though you select in the Armory, it's still going to show as electrical, which we're not going to worry too much about because those are common on all the maps. So when you look at your map, so remember you can always click this in order to get to your map. So we're going to head over to the Armory. So you can see the Armory is down here below communications. Oops, we're going to walk right by. So in this one, you're going to see two of these tasks are something we're used to. So divert power to Armory and download data, which are common tasks in all of the other maps. So for downloading the task, if you've never played before, you're just going to hit download and you're going to wait. It's about a 10-second wait that you're going to have to sit through in order to do it. And if it does get interrupted by a meeting or someone murdering you, well, unfortunately, you are going to have to start that fresh. And then you will go to wherever it sends you. So in this case, it's going to send you outside to go upload your data. But we're going to focus on the newer tasks. So as you can see, the Armory is obviously full of a lot of guns. And the way that you do this, the first one is the rifles. You're just going to click the active button, which on a mouse and keyboard or the spacebar, on both of the guns, and then they're just going to repopulate. But it's also going to send you over here. Now that you've collected the guns, you're just going to hang them up. So just click and drag them, or tap and drag if you're using a touchscreen back there, and then you're done. It's that easy. Same thing with the pistols, except with the pistols, the only difference is that you have 4. So just make sure you click your button 4 times to collect all 4. Then you're going to head over to the wall back here and just line them up so you can hang them up on the racks. And with that, you're done in the Armory. You've uploaded your data, you put away the pistols and the rifles, and you'll only come back once you go to electrical and divert the power. So for diverting power, if you haven't seen it before, it's very easy. In electrical, you'll see that they have the wall for all the divert powers. If you do have multiple divert powers and you click into this and get confused because there's only one, just make sure you do the one that you would do. And when you have a second or a third divert power, hopefully you won't ever have 3. But generally speaking, it's only going to let you do 1 at a time. So if you have multiple divert powers and you click in here and only one is lit, don't worry. Just complete that one, close out of it, and then pull it right back up, and your next one should pop up. So all you have to do is click and drag it up, and then you've started the divert power. Once you start the divert power, you just have to run back to the room that you're diverting the power to in order to accept it. So now that we're back in the Armory, you just go here, you click in. All you gotta do is tap or click the little middle part, and it'll turn in and finish the divert power. And that's all the tasks for the Armory. Now, we do technically have one single task for the Brig, but it's nothing you haven't seen before. It's just the download and upload data. So you'll just go to this panel that's right outside of it. Click into it, hit your download, wait your 10 seconds, and then it's going to finish the download, and you'll just have to go somewhere else to upload. Remember that it's always going to update the location whenever you have tasks as multiple steps, so you can see it's, again, going to go outside. Generally speaking, all your downloads will go to the same upload location, which is out here on the viewing deck. And that's all for the Brig. So next up, we have the cargo bay, which is a completely new one, new location generally. So we have, again, download data, which you're going to see in a lot of different places. But again, you'll just download it. It'll take about 10 seconds to download as usual. And then you'll just go to the upload location, which is outside, in order to complete it. Finish that. All right. So then we're going to go over here. The next one is another one we've seen on, I think, on 2 of the other maps. You can see it on the Skeld and as well as Polis, which is going to be fuel engines. So you'll always start it right here. And so you'll just click that button until it fills up the gauge completely. Then it will pop off for you. And then you're going to have to go fill the engines with the fuel that you just got, which is always going to be out in the engine room. So we're going to head to that in just a second. But while we're in here, let's go ahead and go to our last task in here. We have the safe. This one is probably going to be a little more complex than most of the tasks you'll see, but the key is to pay attention to which way the arrow is facing. So you can see that this arrow faces this way, and you're going to go towards 2. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the safe or tap, and you're just going to turn in the direction that the arrow faces until you get to that number. Once it hits, it's going to register a new number and switch it the other way. Then you just turn back, and then you just turn around again. Boom. And then once you're done with that, it's going to highlight this. You're just going to spin this around counterclockwise until it completes the task. And then you're done. I have noticed when I was testing this the first time, sometimes the safe will get a little glitchy with some of the numbers. It won't quite register. So one, just make sure you're not passing it too much, because that might offset it and cause a little bit of an error. 2, if it really won't work and register and it won't reset for you through just spinning around, I just exit out and refresh it, and it should refresh the task, and then you can try it again, and usually that'll fix it up for you. So then when you're done with the first part of the fuel task, you'll just come over here. You can see I've walked over to the engine room, which is where you're going to fill up the engine. So you just head over here. There's a nice little insert here. And again, you're just going to click this button down here until it fills up all the way. Just click and hold, and it will complete the task. And then you're done with the cargo bay. So now we're moving on to the cockpit. So I've already started the beginning of the accept diverted power task, which is one of the only 3 tasks that are available for the cockpit. And remember, we did that a little earlier, but just in case you forgot, for divert power, you always start in electrical. It's going to be in this top portion here is always where you're going to find the beginning of all your divert power tasks. And then the other ones will be in separate kiosks in each of the rooms. So for the cockpit, you're going to see it's right down here near the entrance. You can just click into it, click the little button in the middle, and then it turns and accepts the divert power. So next we're going to go over, we have to download data, which again is in almost every room, so that's really easy. You just click into it, hit download, wait the 10 seconds, and you're done. You're done. Then you just go over to the outside again at the bottom of the map, and you'll upload the data in the same fashion. Just click and hit upload, and then you'll be good. The last task in here is to stabilize steering, which is way different than what you might think. If you're used to the one on Skeld where you just line it in the middle, it's a lot different than that, as you can see. So for this one, it's a 2-part task. All you're really trying to do is match up each of these pieces to the green marks. So the first one you have is the lever. So you're just going to pull the lever down until it matches with the green cursor, and then it will snap into place. With this, you're just going to turn this until these match into the green slots there. And then you're done. Easy peasy. So technically up next we have communications. However, communications only has 1 task, so we're just going to you can see I've already lumped in the electrical tasks in here as well. So communications is over here between the cockpit and the engine room on the left side of the map. So for communications, the only task you have in here is to download data, which is odd because normally we're used to uploading data to communications, but in the Skeld we also start the download there, so it's not too off. So you're going to just download it, and again, you'll just take that data, go down to the outside the viewing deck, and you'll upload it there to complete the task. As we get started into the electrical tasks, as we all know, wiring is generally one of the more common tasks that you're going to get. That's usually a 3-part task. And those can start basically anywhere. I know there's been a lot of theories out there about where they can start and where they can't start, how there are only certain locations, but just keep in mind that a lot of times it'll get mixed up, and while it may start a lot of times in one certain location or 1 or 2 locations, it could start somewhere else. So keep that in mind as you're getting your tech skills out. Sometimes they may not be lying just because they start in an off location with their wires. So we're going to start here. So if you've never done the wires before, what you're going to do is you're either going to match up the colors, if you can see that, or if you're unable to register the colors very well, they put these nice little symbols. You'll just make sure you match from the symbol on the left side, click, and drag it to the symbol on the right side. Do that for all 4 wires, and your wires will be complete, and it will tell you where to go for the next location, which in this one is going to be the showers, which are luckily right next door. So we'll go ahead and just head on over there and finish that real quick. Again, do the same thing, match the symbols all the way across, and you're done. Next one's in cargo bay, but we'll skip that because we all know what that looks like. It's the same. So next we're going to get into electrical. But before we jump into the other tasks of electrical outside of wiring, we're going to talk a little bit about the layout of electrical and kind of how things are going to work and things to look out for. So when you look on the map of electrical, you're going to see that there's a lot of sections here. It looks like it's very open, but you're going to have to keep your eyes out on this. So every time you start a new game on the airship, electrical is going to be a little bit different. And each of these little segments that are on the map, as you can see in electrical, there's going to be different doorways. And each time you start the map, different doors are going to be closed and different doors are going to be open. So it's a little bit of a maze. So you're going to have to pay attention to that. The one good thing about electrical that you can keep in mind is there are no vents that go straight to electrical. So that makes it a little bit safer, but all the little hideaways and sometimes there are level dead ends are going to be a little issue. So just be careful where you tread. So this first task that we're going to get into is right up here. It's the Calibrate Distributor. If you played on the skeleton, you're familiar with it, you know how to do this. But for those of you who don't know or just never figured it out quite, because I know some people still struggle with this, what you're going to do is as this little cursor goes around, as soon as it hits this, you're going to click this button that it assigns to it. So for this one, as soon as this turns yellow, we're going to go bam. And then just continue that down. Each one is going to get a little bit faster, so just be on the edge there. If you mess one up, it's going to reset the entire set. So just be careful how you do that when you get further in. Click. So once you have those all done, we can move on to, we're going to go up and do the first one up here, which is to divert power into the engine room, which isn't really an electrical task so much as an engine room task. But you can go ahead and just click that up, again, like the other divert powers, and then you'll go to the engine room to complete that. The last one is a very new one for sure, and a somewhat complex one. It's going to cause you a little bit of running around just to kind of make sure. So make sure you're careful and make sure you pay attention when you do this. So for this task, you're going to have 7 different breakers that are all going to be within electrical. But what you have to pay attention to is that they're all numbered. So you can see that this is number 1. So it gets done first. We'll go ahead and just hit that lever down and release, and then you're good. But as you go to the other ones, you may not get number 2. So this one is number 6, which means it has to be done in the 6th place. So we're going to have to just search around, check all the other breakers. Here's number 7. We'll head over here. We have number 4. We found number 3. And here's number 2. So we'll hit number 2 down. Hit number 3 down. Hit number 4 down. And we haven't seen 5 yet. So I'm going to go look around. Oh, actually, it should be this breaker over here. So let's head over here. And there's number 5. So we got number 5. And then we'll head back around to do number 6 and number 7 to complete the task. Oh, that's 7. I believe number 6 is up here. Bam. And bam. So you can kind of check through those, and you can either kind of figure out all the paths before, just do it as you find them. You can always come back to them later if you want. Because electrical doesn't have any vents in it, and a lot of times you can kind of move around a lot, I would advise getting it all done in one go, just to wipe it out as fast as possible. But of course, you can always come back to it later if something comes up, or if you get called into a meeting, you don't have to stress. When you do divert the power from electrical to engine room, just keep in mind the location. I just wanted to show you guys what this is. So you can see it's back here in the corner here. You can't get through with this pipe, so that means you have to go all the way around the engine. The big thing to keep in mind is the area of view here. As you can see, you can't see back there because it's shaded. Even when you're over here, the furthest you can see is this point. So if you are all the way tucked back in here and you get killed, your body's not going to get found. So be careful, watch out when you're going in there, and try to do it as quickly as possible so that you can't, your body doesn't get dumped back there and left behind. Next up, we have the gap room. So you can see the gap room. We only have 2 tasks in here, and they're both on this side. One of them is divert power, which I've already started the divert power from electrical to this room, which I would always advise if you have both tasks, but you can do that generally in the order you want. The only 2 we have in here are the very simple basic tasks that are in a lot of rooms. You have the download data and the accept diverted power. The download data is up here, very open, very nice spot. Nothing to worry about here. Just start your download data, wait the 10 seconds for it to process through, and then you'll want to head outside at some point and finish the upload. When you'll go down the ladder in order to go to the divert power, remember that you can't see up there. Everyone up here can see down, but you're not going to be able to see up there. So just try to get through this as fast as possible. There's also this vent here. So just be on the watch out for that. So with that done, the only other thing to mention in here is you do have the lift in between. So in order to go to the lift, you're going to click on it. When you're on the lift, you cannot access your map. So keep that in mind. Also, when the lift is on one side, if you're on the other side, you can't call it over. So you're either going to have to wait for someone to move around or just take an alternate route, which is going to be a very long road around the map. So keep that in mind. My best advice there is to try to plan your route so that you never have to go across the gap room if at all possible. Because again, if that lift is on the opposite side that you need, you're just going to have to walk around anyways. So if you can already plan to not have to walk around and to be able to just be on the other side before you need to go back to the gap room, that's probably the best way to do it. Next up, we have the kitchen. So in kitchen, there's also only 2 tasks. You can empty the garbage or you can make a burger. So for the garbage, you're going to go up here and just click on that. And what you need to do is you got to click it and you got to hoist it up. It's very strange. Click on the little wires here in the bag and just yank it out. It's going to pull right out, and then you'll have to empty the garbage that's going to be all the way up here at the meeting room, which we will jump back into here in a second. For now, we're going to go over and we're going to make a burger. So when you pull up the burger, it's going to show you the list of ingredients that you have to add. This can change every time, so you're not going to be able to know what's going to come up, but it's very easy anyways. So you can see we have bottom bun, onion, lettuce, and tomato with a top bun. So you'll just click on it and it will bring it up or down in case you forget. And then you'll just click and drag the ingredients on. So we have the onion, the lettuce, the tomato, the top bun, and you're done. So you're good there. Alright, so now that we've made it up to the meeting room, in order to empty the garbage, you're going to click on this. It's not going to look the same as the big bag of trash that you pulled out, but all you got to do is just take this, hold it down, hold it until it's empty, and then let go and the task will complete. This is pretty normal. You've seen this on a lot of the other maps, so it's not that foreign for you guys if you've played before. If you're new, again, not that hard. Just again, click, drag, and pull to the bottom, hold it until everything is out, and then let it go and it will complete the task. Next up, we have the lounge. Luckily, there's only 1 task in the lounge, so that's pretty easy to keep in mind. But the other part that's interesting about the lounge is as you can see here, there are stalls, and you're not able to see through the doors. So to open a door, you just click the action button, and then you'll go in. The cool thing about the lounge is these doors will shut after a time. You just have to kind of give them a little bit. It'll shut in a second. But as you could see there, you weren't able to see behind. So this is a good hiding spot. If you're ever not able to get to the button, or you saw something and your imposter is looking for you and you're trying to hide, this could be a good place to hide if you can get there with enough time for that door to shut. Unfortunately, there's no way to shut that manually, so you just have to wait for it. But it could be a good hiding place in a pinch. So what we have to do here is clean the toilet. You're just going to use the plunger, click, and push it down and up, down, up, down, up. And just repeat that until the bar on the side goes all the way up, and then your task is completed. And that's all for the lounge. Next up, we have the main hall, which is the very center of the map. So it's definitely a point that a lot of people are going to go by, and there's quite a few tasks in here as well. One of the new tasks is going to be decontaminating, which in this one, you're just going to click on it. It's going to give you a shower. You just wait until the bar goes all the way down, and then you'll be completed with the task. Not a very good spot. We don't like the waiting tasks, but it's simple enough to do at least. So then we'll pop over here. You have to develop photos. This is one of the tasks, like the inspect sample that you'll see on Skilled or Polis, that's going to make you wait 60 seconds before you can come back to it. So this is one that if you have at the very beginning of the game, keep your eye out for it and try to get it out as early as possible. That way you're not ending up at the very end of the game, have as your last task, and now you have to wait 60 seconds before you can complete it. So for develop photos, all you have to do to start is just drag the photos into the solution, put them all in there, and then it will start the timer for the 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, we'll come back, and that will automatically complete. So for now, let's go ahead and move on. We also have an empty trash here. So again, you'll just click on the handles here and pull it out. Shoot. And there you go. You've emptied the trash. So the last task here is going to be divert power. As you can see, I've already started it. Again, that always starts in electrical and then goes to the room that you're diverting power to. So for this one, it's going to go in this room here. So again, you just click on it, click the little middle, it'll turn it and accept the task. The other thing to keep in mind with the main hall is that there are not 1 but 2 vents in the main hall. As you can see, there's one here, and there's also going to be a vent up in here. So keep your eye out for those. If you want to see more about the vents and where they lead, you can check out, if it's not out already, soon I'll be having an imposter guide video for this map as well that'll talk about where the different vents, where all the vents are and where all they go, so that you can see the connections and get a better idea of how to suss out the killer. So now that the developed photos are done, we're just going to go over it. You click on it and pull the photos right back out. And hey, we got some nice photos, and you're done. And that's all for the main hall. The next step, we have medical. So there are 2 different tasks in medical, which you've seen both before if you've seen the other tasks in this video, which are empty the garbage and to download data. Empty garbage is again one of the new tasks. If you haven't seen it already, again, super easy. you just come over to where the garbage can is, click on it, click on the handles, and pull them out of the trash. Might have to jiggle it around a little bit. And then you'll have to empty that garbage up in the meeting room once you're done. The other one, again, is going to be download data. Again, you just click in, hit download. It's going to take about 10 seconds to finish that download. You'll just wait for it to complete. Again, if it gets interrupted, you'll have to restart it. And then you'll have to go outside in order to finish the upload data below the viewing deck. So we're back in the meeting room. We also are going to complete our empty garbage that came from the medical room as well as the main hall. And we'll complete the 2 tasks that are also unique to the meeting room. One, again, is divert power, which you always start in electrical, but will be here. So for the trash, you're always going to go to the same spot for all the trash ones you have to empty the garbage. If you have it multiple times, you'll just complete it, and then just do it the same way again, and it will keep checking it off of your checklist over here. As you can see, I've got 3 checked off garbages, which won't happen to you in the main game most likely, but can happen. So then the divert power is going to be right here against this wall, near the button. And also keep in mind, this is where the button is. It's not a very convenient spot, it's not super easy to reach, and this map is very huge, so if you need the button, be careful. Last one is going to be entering your ID code, which is the task that we also see in Mira. So you're just going to pull it up, you pull your little card out of your wallet, and you're going to type in this number and hit the check mark. So we have 63658, click the check mark, and you've completed the task. Easy peasy. The next up on our list, alphabetically of course, is records. So records is going to have 2 different tasks. The one that we all know and love, download data. It's over here on the sidewall. Again, download it. Wait about 10 seconds for it to finish, and then go to the outside so you can complete the upload later. You don't have to do them right away. You can always wait to do the upload after the download for however long you want. The other task is a new one, which is going to be to sort the records. There are going to be 4 different records in the stack, and you can only do one at a time, unfortunately. But all you'll do is you click on one of the records, and then it will automatically close out, and you'll just follow the arrow to where on the shelf you need to put it. So in this one, we're going to put it over here. And you just click on the empty slot. So you can see in the middle here, this one doesn't have a file folder. Just click on it. It'll go ahead and put that file in for you. So then you head back, click another one, and just rinse and repeat until you get there. This one looks more like a bookshelf. Again, just click on the empty slot. It'll fill it in for you with the record. So we'll do that for the last 2 as well. Could be pretty much anywhere in here, but they all look the same. It's usually just the binders on the shelf or the file missing out of the filing cabinet. Pretty simple. Now to everyone's favorite room, security. There is one task actually in security, and this is a new one as well, so you're going to have to keep this in mind. This one can take a little bit longer to do, depending on how far the time is. So all you're going to do is you can see at the top here on the sticky note, there's a certain time that you have to match. And down here is what the current time is. So as you can see right now, my time is ahead. It can start behind, and you have to fast forward instead of rewinding. Just keep that in mind. But for this one, obviously, we have to rewind in order to get back to 9:39. So this is a very fast speed. So just keep an eye on it as you go. It's just going to keep getting faster the longer it runs. So be really careful about that. You don't want to pass it too far. Oop. This one's a slow increase, though, so you should be able to kind of pinpoint that time. You have to hit pause when you hit the time in order for it to process. It's not just going to automatically stop. Bam. And there you go. That task is done. So next up we have the showers, which is a completely new room as well. So in this one you're going to have 2 different tasks. You have to fix the shower and you have to pick up all the towels laying around. So we're going to start with the shower. So you're just going to have to come in here. I think it's usually the same one, but just keep an eye out. It'll tell you which one to go to. And then you have to hammer it. So just hammer it a couple times. You have to kind of get it to go in the center, so be careful about how much strength you're using. As you can see at the bottom, they have the green, yellow, and red, which is going to hit how far you go. Green for just 1 little notch, yellow for 2 notches, red is going to blow it 3 full notches, which can be a lot. So just kind of take a look at it and see how far you have to go, or just keep hitting until you get it right. But if you want to kind of calculate it, it'll be a little better, especially because this is a dark corner. So you want to try not to get caught in here too long, or else the imposter will have a nice place to hide your body. So the next one is towels. There's going to be 8 towels. They're just scattered about. You just have to click on them. It'll pick them up. And then we're going to put them away. But let's go ahead and collect them all real quick. Again, you can just do one little sweep, and generally you'll see them all as they're highlighted in yellow, as most tasks are. And then you can see this little towel bin. This is where we're going to put them away. So you're going to click on it, and you just have to click and drag them into the bin. Into the bin. There we go. That one didn't want to go through. So we'll go ahead and put those all in. Oop. It's just going to fill up that basket, if I can get this. And then you'll be done. And there you go, towels are put away. The last thing you have to do in here is divert the power. I've already started it from electrical, and you can see it's going to be down here on this corner right by the lockers. Again, just click in the middle, and you're done. And that's showers for you. Next up is possibly the most important on this map, the vault, where we have this nice shiny ruby, which is going to be the first task we're going to complete in here. This is, again, a very new task, which is kind of neat. So you have the big ruby. All you have to do is polish it. So what do? You can see on the ruby there are going to be these scratch marks. And this is going to be similar to just clicking, kind of like with the rocket ship. You can't speed click them. You're going to have to do it kind of slowly. It's not fun. But you can rub it with the mouse. So you can't just keep clicking, but you can click and drag, and it'll just keep rubbing away the scratches. You have to wait until you get the shinies on all the spots where there are scratches. Boop. And then you polish the ruby. And remember, no matter whether you're crewmate or imposter, you can't take the ruby home. So now we're going to dress a mannequin. So down here is the mannequin that you're going to dress. When you click into it, it's going to give you all the options for the different accessories you can put on. And at the top here is what you need to build. So we're just going to click and drag the different pieces that are up here in order to match the mannequin to what it wants. And there you go. You've dressed a mannequin and you're a fashion star now. Last thing in here is going to be the download upload. You can see it's down here in the corner is where you're going to find that download. Keep in mind this little vent up here, because people can sneak in, but luckily it's above your little chart, your little download screen here. So that's going to be a really nice. That'll be a really nice way to kind of keep an eye out and make sure that they can't sneak up on you through that vent. So now we're going to move on to ventilation. There's only one task on ventilation, but it is arguably not the simplest one to be able to do. The big problem here is that when you get into ventilation, you can see there's this nice gap in the middle, and there's no way to get across that. So in order to do ventilation, you're going to have to go onto this side. You always start on the right, and then you're going to have to go to the left in order to enter in the code, which means you have to walk around the entire part of the map. Now, a lot of times for someone like me, I'd be tempted to start this and then complete the rest of the task later. But however, the issue with this one is that it's a little bit different, and that's not necessarily a two-part task. The way that ventilation works is that you have a code that you need to enter in up here. In order to get that code, though, you have to start down here. So you look at this, you're going to hit reveal code, and it's going to show you the code. So you have to memorize this code and then go enter it in. The longer that you wait to enter in that, to get back around and enter in that code, the harder it's going to be to memorize it. So either make sure you have a notepad where you can jot that down real quick, or a good memory to keep that in mind. So for this one, we have diamond and 3 rubies, and then we'll pop back around to enter that code. So then on the other side, you click into it, and then it's going to ask you to enter the code. And you just click on these, it's going to cycle through the things. You'll just click in until it matches the code that you saw on the other side. You can always go back and check the code again. It will always be the same. But again, if you stay too long with it, you might have to go back around. And it is not a very fast route to get through. And last but not least, we have the viewing deck, which only has the one download data task. Though arguably, you could say it has a few more, since this is also where you're going to go in order to do your upload on data, which is all the way out here and very loud. So we'll start here. Get the download done. As you may have seen right before I started this is standing on top of a vent. And with your screen here, it's going to be impossible for you to see someone popping out of the vent. So be careful. It's a little risky to do in general, because someone could pop out of the vent, kill you, go out, and you would never know really. And it's really simple for them to get away at that point. So now you have to upload data. However, on this map, they've mixed around how you upload data. So unlike before, where you just click the button and it uploaded just like the download works, when you click it in, you're going to see this little device. And it's got poor connection. So what you have to do is move it until it's got good connection or whatever. So you can see over here it has good, it has poor here, so it uploads a little slowly, and it has none at certain points, which is not good. Sometimes when it starts in the middle, it'll have none. Sometimes you can leave alone. On poor, it's fine. But if you move it around, you can get it to move a little faster in order to get that upload done a little sooner. There's also a location out here, outside of security on the deck, that you can also use to upload. So as you can see, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to have the device. This started at none, so I have to move it around before it'll start. And I saw perfect. So now it's going to upload real fast, which is great for us. And there we go. You've completed your tasks. You've completed all the tasks in this one. But we'll keep on going. There's a few more things a few more tips and tricks that you want to definitely learn about the map if you want to stick around. We'll learn a little bit more about some of the different functions on the map and how to get around. So the first thing we're going to cover in the other segment is security. So you can see the security is at the bottom of the map here, which is very far away from the button, which is up here in the meeting room. So keep in mind that if you see something on security, it's not going to be easy to get to the meeting room and press the button. So it's either easier to find a body or to hide until somebody reports it if somebody saw you. If not, just make sure you keep that in mind so that you can bring it up on the next meeting if you don't have time to run all the way up to the meeting room and press that button. So when you click into security, it's going to view one of 6 different rooms. You can view the engine room, which is a great way to kind of keep an eye out for this poor little spot back here. That's very easy to get a kill on. The vault, which is only going to view over the ruby and the entrance as well as this top part. It's not going to go down to the side where there's a vent and the other download task or the mannequin down here. So keep that in mind, but it can help you see who's coming in and out of the room. Records, which is just kind of a pretty good middle point. It just kind of shows the middle. You can't see the top and bottom where there's little corners and whatnot. But again, you can use it to monitor people coming in and out to get a good idea of where people were. It does look over security, which is arguably not the most helpful. But one thing to keep in mind here is at the south here, where you can see where this opening is, that is a deck down there that has that spot on the bottom. So if you see someone, or if you see 2 people go down there, since there's no vent, and you only see 1 person come up, that could be a good indication that somebody's just died down there. Granted, if you're on security, they're probably not going to pull that off, but just keep that in mind. You can also see the cargo bay, a very small shot of the cargo bay, but you can see the cargo bay. The big one to keep an eye out here for is obviously over here. This opening goes to that ventilation where you cannot cross the pathway. So if 2 people go in there, 1 person comes out, keep an eye on that because that could be another kill spot. And then you can see where the meeting room starts. You can't see the button, but you can see the only entrance that goes to the meeting room into the button. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you see someone rushing over there with somebody following them and the button doesn't get pressed, it's probably a death. So in the medical room of this map, we get to bring back vitals, which can be very vital in discovering who the monster is. So as you can see the screen down here, it's right next to these beds at the bottom, and you can see the vitals. So for people who haven't used vitals before or never really tried them or understood them, vitals are just going to show you whether someone is alive or if they're dead. You have to double check because there's going to be a difference between someone who died this round or someone who died a previous round or was voted off. If it's gray and says offline, that means they died previously, and it's not a big deal to worry about right now. If it's red, that means they were just killed this current round, and you should probably be concerned about that. One thing to keep in mind as a crewmate is that pressing the button can cause a lot of suspicion, especially with bodies. If you press the button, you don't figure out what the body is. It gives you very limited information on the imposter, so be very careful about when you're pressing the button if you're looking at vitals. Obviously, if there's multiple bodies or if it's very close to an imposter win, pressing that button could be the best bet if you don't know where to look for bodies. However, try to keep that in mind and try your best to find bodies or let bodies be found rather than pressing the button immediately. Granted, the button is very far from medical, so you won't get it that close anyways, but just keep that in mind. And try to keep in mind the order that people die or the timing and how long it's been since people died. That can help people kind of figure out, oh, I saw this person at that point or just 10 seconds ago when that body went dead on the monitor. So therefore, you can kind of get a better idea of who that might have been. As I mentioned before, but I do just want to bring this up, in this map, we kind of get a couple more mechanics in terms of traveling the map. The big one is going to be this little pad here that you're going to move across. When you activate it, you'll automatically move across 1 person at a time. And keep in mind, you cannot open your map while you're on this. Just something to keep in mind so you don't think it's glitched. You can't open your map while you're on it. So just something to keep in mind if you're looking about. The other thing is the ladders. They're very easy to use. All you have to do is click the use button or press spacebar if you're on mouse and keyboard, and you'll just slide up or down the ladder. Easy to have. Again, I always recommend with this that you plan ahead if you're going to have to go through this room. Reason being that if you end up not being able to go through this path, you're going to have to go around a long way to get to where you're going. So if you can plan that you're already not going to have to go directly across the gap room, you can make your life a little bit easier. Because if this platform is on the other side, there's no way to call it around. You're either going to have to wait for somebody to get on that pad and bring it back over for you, or you're going to have to walk all the way around. And if there ends up being a couple people there who also want to use that platform and take it away from you, they're probably not going to come back, especially because only 1 person can be on that platform at a time. So you can't kind of group together and all get on it. So keep that in mind. Make sure you plan your routes. It's going to make getting your tasks done a lot easier, as well as keeping you from getting trapped. We mentioned this before, but the button for this map is up in the meeting room, which is at the very, very top of the map. Now you can see that's up here. The thing to keep in mind here is that the other points of information that usually you'll use to be able to go to the button and reveal things, or if you haven't seen something in person, is security, which is all the way down here, medical for the vitals, which is all the way down here, or the admin, which is all the way over here in the cockpit. So they're very far away from the meeting room. So be careful if you ever have to try to get to the button, and try to keep that information in mind so that when the meeting finally does come up, you have it fresh. So the last piece of helpful information to get you through this is going to be over here in the cockpit is where you're going to have the admin table. So this is the table where you can track where people are in the ship. Luckily with this one, there aren't a lot of hallways. Most everything is a room. Remember that if people walk into a hallway, they're not going to show up on the map at all. So it may look like they might be venting around, but just keep in mind that hallways aren't going to show up, and these little decks on the outside may not show up either. But you can kind of use this, again, just to track how many people are in what rooms, how they're moving around, and just kind of keep an idea of things. If you see someone go from the vault to the cockpit, it might be a vent, or it might just be that somebody's moved into a hallway and you can't see them, and somebody else has moved into that other room. Just keep it in mind, kind of check around, and keep your information. It's a good information source if you know how to use it right. In general, again, I always recommend that people go through free play if you are concerned with being able to complete the tasks, or being able to get the layout of the map before having to go into a round, so that you can be more comfortable with making accusations and pulling information so that you can try to figure out who the imposters are properly. Or at least just study the map and figure out where things are just in terms of direction. So you can see in terms of landmarks, to the very left or the very west is the cockpit, the rightmost is the cargo bay, the topmost is the meeting room, and the bottom is either security or electrical. I would probably say security if you're going to go with those kinds of directions. So kind of make sure you do that, get an idea for the layout, and get an idea for what your surroundings look like. That way, once a meeting comes up and somebody asks where you're at, or if you report a body, you can give them more accurate information so that people can start to figure it out a little bit better. But again, free play is a great way to get more information and to kind of understand things a little bit better, to make your life a little easier as you're putting on your detective hat and hoping to get those imposters out. And that is all I have for the crewmate guide. Again, keep your eye out. I'll be coming out with an imposter guide for the airship very soon, which will talk more about the layout and mostly about the vents and kind of where the vents go and what to look for in terms of how they connect and how you can both get away and avoid getting called out if people are wondering about vents. See you next time, and thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I hope this helps people get adjusted to the new map. It's a very big map. There's a lot of new tasks, and it could be a lot of fun. But I know people can get overwhelmed by that. So hopefully this was helpful. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Kyan, and see you next time.